out of Alternative Public Radio International. You want to check our website out, it's all lowercase alternativepublicradiointernational.com. We're streaming live from Restream on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and soon to be many more. So you guys tune in, be sure and share the show, hit the like button if there are any, and use our embed code to stream live from some of your platforms and pages and groups, and encourage your friends to do the same. Really appreciate all of our fans and supporters out there, and just sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you all very much, and we'll turn it over to the live show now. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Davenport here, along with Screaming Crow, Mr. Chad Nicholson. We're 6 o'clock, a little beyond 6 o'clock, but close to the dot. Welcome to the show tonight. It's going to be a very interesting show, I'm sure. It's open mic night, so anything could happen. We had a real shit show last night at the club, and for all of you uh, detractors out there who didn't appreciate our little audio foompa, you can eat a shit sandwich for all I care. And if you want to meet me at the club, you know where I'll be next Thursday night. If you want to go out in the parking lot, we'll have a little talk about it. That's fine with me. You know, it's a beta test, and shit happens. It is what it is. And for you to come on my public thread and talk like you did is just really a fucked up thing, and cowardly, if you ask me. Not very polite. And you could have said it probably a little bit better, but I'm sure when we get together, we'll have a little talk about that. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, brother. Hey. Yeah. I mean, I do put that on my part. I will blame myself for that. That was my part of the tech issue. Um, I didn't have the the right decibels. I do blame myself. And again, yes, it was a beta test, but if you're gonna attack somebody, just point the finger at me on this one. But yeah, it's a little ridiculous that somebody's gonna go out and go that far, opposed to just like say something to you to the side. More convenient. I don't know what people's problem is with just trying to dox and out people is just insanity.
Well, the DB, should have probably been set at 720. I don't know what you had it set at. Did you notice if it was 720 or 840 or whatever it was?
I think it was around 840, a little higher. I had it set wrong.
Yeah, okay. No big deal. No big deal. Nobody to blame. I mean, we were, like I said, it was our first night back in music. It was my first night back on any music venue in several years. I mean, you and I have been doing so much live commentary and geopolitical analysis and space technology and AI technology and the ontological and the esoteric and mind brain connection, neurology, astrophysics, cosmology, which some of these bird fucking brains out there that are listening that wanted us to eat a little shit sandwich probably have the IQ of a goddamn armadillo. So if you're listening, armadillos tend to run into trees all the time. They're blind and deaf. But like I said, it was a test, and anybody that didn't like it or doesn't like it can just eat shit for all I care. We may or may not be back up there Thursday night. I mean, it just depends. I'm going to talk to the owner and a few other folks, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I haven't been feeling very well. Chad, why don't you take off with some of your own thoughts, your own commentary on whatever, and then I'm going to pull up some very interesting, let's just say, was classified information on this supposed worldwide UFO UAV phenomena that's happening right now. I've actually got documented proof in my hands here that it is real and that they do have many spacecraft that have been re-engineered and also have captured many species, let's just say, from other spaces and places and times and worlds and dimensions and portals, and that they do exist and they are real, and there's no doubt about it in my mind whatsoever after 20 years of research. And now that I have this particular information in hand with names, which I can give you tonight to do your own research with, you will find that this alien invasion that is supposedly in the playbook, and I've actually seen the playbook, um, and Chad knows a few things about this, is probably going to be an alien invasion to increase the budget of our current military, which sounds literally insane. I mean, it just sounds insane that they would go to such extremes, including collateral damage, along with their holographic technology. They have the real technology and the real military aircraft and the real technology that they've re engineered that they're going to be bringing in with this holographic technology. And they're literally going to be blowing stuff up, which is going to create collateral damage all over the world. And to do something like this, Chad, is just it's unreasonable for one thing. It's crazy. It's insane for another. And why couldn't they just increase the budget as they've sent $1 trillion or 2 trillion or 3 trillion plus to Ukraine and funneled it back into the situation? Now we have a SAP program going on, which Hillary Clinton is involved in. I know for a fact, I have the SAP documents, and we'll get into this SAP situation, which is beyond top secret. Very highly classified on a need to know basis. Now we know that Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation has been involved in communications with China, uh, selling secrets of our reengineering programs. We also have proof that NASA and others brought in university professors into this program, along with their laboratories and their ability to study this technology for various reasons, which we'll get into a little bit later, and that Hillary has made millions upon millions upon millions upon millions, along with others in Davos and the World Economic Forum and the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, along with the Club of Rome, and some famous folks over there at the United Nations Security Council, along with our higher intelligence agencies in the deep state, have been, fucking around with this shit for years and years and years and years. Goes all the way back to Truman, where we have some documentation of communication with extraterrestrials and some deals that were made, some treaties that were signed. So, Chad, now that you have this information that I have tonight, I'm sure you're interested in hearing these names here in a minute. But what is your take on all of this now that you have the information that I've just given out?
Well, I like to get on to what you talked about. Why wouldn't they just raise the budget and everything else? That would be a simple way to do it. But you know, the the easiest way for them to even do the depopulation for nobody to catch on would honestly be putting ourselves against ourselves. You know what I mean? Like shark against shark, dog against dog, and just let us slaughter ourselves. So then when they come out, we're here from the government to save you. Everybody's going to go running. And it's going to help them destroy all the infrastructure like they've done throughout history. Every time that they do a takeover of any country, how they destroy all the history of it. So all these bombings are just going to destroy the history of the land, and then they're going to move them into smart cities. And it's a smart way to do it. to where you're extorting more money than anything, because now you're making money off of the damage you're causing. Now you're making money off of, the hospitalizations that are going on, the starving people, the everybody that's giving money. You'll have all
Water,
these
water, tea, water.
rich people that are in the 1% category. They'll throw extra money to be able to embezzle money so they can, hide away all the atrocities that they've been doing. This is a quick way of scorch earth, because all the documentations and all the loose ends like the mafia would do is gone. There's no more loose ends. Like when they shut the internet down, when they bring this invasion in, because that's what's going to happen. So nobody could be like, listen, they're holograms. They're going to shut the internet down, all communications down. People are going to freak out, and it's going to be total chaos. And that's what they want: death, destruction, and pillaging. And they win.
Well, we know at this time. I've got to take something, Chad. I am very sick, as you know, right now, and I've got to take something here. Um, real quick. Canada, my friends, is on fire, and Chad and I have direct information that it's definitely not a Smokey the Bear kind of deal with a out of control group of campers who were smoking a little bit too much dope and their barbecue grill got out of hand. Chad and I have direct information that this was definitely a direct energy weapon that just literally blew up thousands of acres of land, just like you would drop a nuclear bomb. This was a direct energy weapon. There's no doubt about it in anybody in my circle's mind. And Bill 26 passed, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not familiar with that, they're going to be putting all doctors in the United States in jail now, in prison, and fining them hundreds of thousands of dollars for any kind of information that's contrary to the government narrative concerning anything that has to do with COVID or any other pathogen or any other substance or any other um, program that the World Health Organization deems that's a public security risk or national security risk or such and such and so on. So this is a really major change that's come in right now. Chad, what's your opinion on? I mean, this is worse than anything that I could ever imagine in my wildest dream, nightmare. This is insane. This is more insane than the UFO thing. I mean,
Yeah.
putting doctors in jail now for going against the narrative of the World Health Organization. What is this going to do to medicine? It's already fucked up. Allopathic medicine is already in the shitter. Hospitals are in the shitter. Our medical system's in the shitter. Our mental health system's in the shitter. Now, what is this going to do?
Well, that's a dangerous situation right there. Because then anybody that does homeopathic is going to jail. Any doctor that is, a guru. Like the scary part that scares me is like you. You know what I mean? You teach healing. You teach frequency. You teach vibrations. You're a specialist in what you do, and the way they look at you would be a doctor. People like you yourself will be snagged up because you're going against the medical decision that they have. This will put anybody at chance of being put in black jails, as they're called, and I think what they're going to do is put in one universal health care for everybody, and that's it, regardless. No individual health care, no specified or nothing. You get one set treatment, and that's it. You know, Millions are going to die from this.
Sounds crazy, Chad. Really,
So
really,
wouldn't that's going to delete the whole private sector of any kind of medicine whatsoever, to where it's full government control of all medicine.
yeah, yeah. Let's go back to my documents here. Bomb over the last few days, bombshell revelation has come out of a Pentagon insider or whistleblower who has come forward to admit that the universe isn't what we think it is. The United States has definitely been harboring aircraft, off-world craft vehicles that we have been reverse engineering for many, 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 many years and have been suppressing it from the public. And of course, many books have been written about this, but this whistleblower came forward with a complaint about this suppression. And David Grush, with this complaint, when you say crush, military whistleblower says U.S. government has UFO retrieval program in place and has had it in place long before the Truman presidency. Um, so they're asking him, what does he mean by retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles? You can call it spacecraft if you want. You can call it whatever you want, UAWs, UFOs. Um, will probably not be the right parlay, parlance, but non-human exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed or been captured. We definitely have spacecraft from another species. Um, we have quite a number of these. It's a very alarming number of these, and this is really creating bells are going off in my head. Is this a psychological operation? How legitimate is this? Do we how many years have we known about this? What is actually going on here? Well, someone who's been diving very, very deep into this is Joshua Reed, which you all can look up for yourselves. Joshua. Joshua Reed, Reed. He actually has the Red Pill Project, diving through these thousands of emails, documents, and sources on this to find out if this individual is legitimate or are we facing a psychological operation. And according to Joshua, some very, very interesting things have been taking place. And I do mean interesting. Joshua has been around this for many, many years, being a veteran in the Navy, working classified top secret areas and SAP areas, and has information that very few of us possess and is not able to obviously tell the whole story, or he would probably be taken out immediately. He's been in this for many, 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 many years, and someone who has worked on the secret space projects. So, uh, we're hearing a lot of revelations, my immediate reaction always is it a psychological operation and what type of psychological operation is it? And I'm sure our audience would like to hear some of the fascinating information on this, um, on what David has discovered. And so, you know, he has spent 10 years in the United States Navy and worked on missile weapons defense systems, top secret defense system. And he's had his own experiences while in the Navy with these types of things from 2004 to 2006. Specifically, was working on ultra top secret facilities and within top secret facilities, beyond top secret facilities, and has been studying this topic for well over 2.5 decades. And I'm sure y'all have heard of him. He's been a researcher, investigator in all of this technology and done his own shows and investigations and deep dives on this topic. And he is completely fascinated, as I am, with this topic. And when this news broke about the whistleblower, there was something that caught his interest, and this was Inspector General McCullough. If you all would like to look this up, Chad and I always like to give you the name so you can go and look it up yourself. Normally, I would tell you to eat a shit sandwich, and I wouldn't even give you this information, but I'm in a good mood tonight, and I've got a severe headache, so I don't know what that has to do with anything, but we'll move on with it. Inspector General McCullough, who was the lawyer representing him. And so there is a back history behind Inspector General McCullough. People remember this gentleman was the Inspector General of the intelligence community that was testifying on the Hillary Clinton email scandal back in 2015 with Congressman Chapetz in Congress when he was asked what it was in these emails, and he came out and said they're Orcon and SAP projects. Okay, they're Orcon and SAP projects, which is should scare the living shit out of all of you. Um, I can tell you this, but I can't tell you all of it. It's classified. It's on a need to know basis. And him and his team had a summary briefing on these SAP programs. And we learned from Horowitz's report out of Hillary Clinton's investigation. Hillary had metadata on this. And now, I want you to think about the FBI and what they did with the Clinton tapes and what they did with the Clinton affidavits and reports and dossiers and all of the Clinton emails. They vanished. Okay, they vanished. Well, she had been sending metadata um, and had email addresses that was tied to Chinese companies, and that's kind of where these emails were floating around, going to China, to special intelligence agents in China and a few other countries. And the research that we've all done here for the last 4 years or so has uncovered what potentially was in those emails she was forwarding and replying to. Okay, what we find, we know that somehow they're somehow connected to the SAP program, special access programs. Now, these SAP programs are very, 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 very ultra classified. And for Hillary Clinton to be involved with something like this, coming out as a former First Lady and as a State Department official, and Secretary of State running the State House over there and having access to all of this classified information and now SAP program information is just literally unbelievable. I would have never honestly suspected it. It wasn't in my repertoire of thinking. Um, but we're talking about the highest, most classified programs of the military, DoD and the DOJ and NASA. Well, Donald Trump came in with him, Mike Pompeo, shut down all of these educational exchange programs that Hillary and Barack Obama had started. And so the investigation really started there early on in 1998. Bill Clinton giving nuclear secrets away in 2006, never got in trouble. Various different nuclear incidences in 2008, nuclear incidences, and what we see this pattern of military technology being inadvertently traded with the enemy, whether it's China, foreign adversaries, or whoever. And so we started looking at this pattern and noticed that when Donald Trump came in, began investigating various different colleges and universities and professors and started arresting them. Everybody remembers Harvard professor Charles Lieber, who was arrested. Charles Lieber, who was arrested, who was recently just a sentence. Well, he was one of many. Okay, the one thing that all these professors that got arrested have in common is that they all have NSF, National Science Foundation, SAP clearances, okay, and track records, which were special access programs that they all had top secret SAP programs access. So by looking at this and kind of breaking it all down, we come to find out that Hillary Clinton has SAP access also and SAP emails also that she was sending to these Gmail addresses that some of them are not even encrypted that were potentially being looked at by the Chinese, where the universities and the professors that were getting these grants to reverse engineer the various different technologies in these SAP programs. If you remember Bob Lazar's documentary, y'all might want to write that down. Bob Lazar, Lazrs. Remember Bob Lazar's documentary? He said that due to the compartmentalization, we'll never reverse engineer. I did a show on this actually, any of this technology unless we get it into the universities. For the longest time, the other side of the deep state had been trying to get their hands on this, and there had been a big fight between the deep state and the dark state and the cabal and many other intelligence agencies much higher than the CIA. So now the revelation comes up that Hillary Clinton's emails were potentially selling all of this re engineered information from the university professors that were put into place by her and NASA and some other intelligence agencies to China and other foreign adversaries of these SAP programs. China would come in, fund the university, bring that professor over to China, get the information out through the CIA of these professors of what our SAP programs they were working on, and then highly advanced their technology there in China in 1 decade to become equivalent with the United States deep state. So Inspector General McCullough is a man who was, you know, read into these programs, highly read into these SAP programs, specifically now Clinton. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, we were looking at some sources here, and this project, what happened with this whistleblower, is what I'm looking at in my notes here, and what was said. He actually predicted that this event was going to happen. He said that there's more than one whistleblower. I think there's three whistleblowers. Okay, the other two have been put under deep, deep, deep cover. The ones who have the first-hand information on this. Not only that, but they have the actual evidence and the video, photographic evidence of what happened. We know this because when they file transfer and the whistleblower came out with the complaint, they had a fear for their life. Okay, they were scared, literally shitless, that they were going to be assassinated immediately, and they needed cover. And they were transitioning out of their careers in the DoD and the deep state and the military and special intelligence and SAP community. They were transitioning into defense contracting. So one of them knew the location of where these crafts were, and they were stored. And so they feared for their life. They feared they were going to be killed immediately, and that there could potentially be some major pushback on their families and their children, which is what these black ops folks like to do to folks like myself and others on them, and they felt the need to come forth, and so they went to the whistleblowers intelligence community. They got introduced to the congressman. They testified in front of a group of congressmen. Now we've heard an Indiana congressman. Okay, this is kind of not really been verified or vetted yet, but I think it was an Indiana congressman. um, can't confirm this, but what I'm hearing is Andrew Carson. This is the congressman that they testified in front of, along with a few others who are unmentionable. And it didn't, these guys at first did not take this seriously at all. Did not take this seriously at all. But what ended up happening is someone came into the room from SAP and pulled out a briefcase full of evidence and DVDs that showed these congressmen video evidence of the intelligence community members communicating, actually communicating with extraterrestrials. And this had been run by the old Kodak engineers who were, probably 100 years old, who were experts in detecting any kind of fraud in photoshopping or anything like that. So these had been completely vetted 1,000 times as being real. These guys are actually communicating with extraterrestrials and time travelers. And after these videos were shown to the congressmen and they spoke to the intelligence officers that were there, they were so shaken. They were so shaken, their knees were rattling together. The one congressman drank so much water he almost pissed himself at the meeting. And he was drinking water profusely. and they begin to take this very seriously. And so they introduced these gentlemen to former Inspector General of Intelligence Community McCullough Hentz. He enters the picture all of a sudden. Here comes McCullough Hentz into the picture as someone who understands these SAP programs and has been read into these SAP programs from back in the day and is now representing these gentlemen. And there's more here, but I can't make any more comments at this time, or I will get into a lot of trouble because I've just transferred out of Tor and on the fifth level in the onion, and I'm back up on the first floor now. Chad, would you like to comment?
It's sad because it's all been in front of our face for years, with the mass psychosis that they have people, and they've been able to go completely under the radar, but yet hold the advanced you know technologies that they've learned against us. I mean, if you just look from the time planes were just flying when they were gravity fed, what I mean, fuel supply, to all of a sudden, fuel injection, that like was a massive jump. That was 50, 60 years advance and jump right there with just engines alone. Because as well as I do, once a plane got so high back in the day, it couldn't, pump any fuel. There wasn't enough pressure to push into the tanks. If you go do a rollover and you're upside down too long, your engine will stall because it's not getting the fuel. But like, look at CDs, like from cassettes to CDs, that was massive. That was massive. And if anybody remembers anything about the old laser disc, those things are like bigger than frisbees. But this whole cover up with the alien race, they've put it in movies on us. They've made us, blinded by it. And my question is, for the people that actually read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, do you really think that they might have went down there and grabbed the ship that was labeled underneath there before anything? Because they got Khufu ship. Now these ships, are they boats, or are they, starships as they call them, which would be spacecrafts that they've been hiding for what? Um, they discovered what in the 1800s, the last major site of civilization that was star children, as they would call them. Um, but the technology we use today, like the stealth planes, the stealth ships, the stealth subs, how they completely disappear, and then you have the invisible technology. It makes you wonder how long they've actually had it. That's my question. And what is out there that we can't see right now?
Well, we know that cloaking devices are keeping these ships from being seen, and I've been told by some of my contacts who I used to work with that these ships are up there right now over your house and that they're the size of Texas. You just can't see them. Now, if you'll go back just a little while in your research and you'll look at the military came out with this uh, video of soldiers running around going invisible, crossing the path of the enemy, completely going invisible and popping up right in the middle of the battle and killing a whole bunch of enemy soldiers. So they've had this invisibility cloaking technology for a long, 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 long time. I think you and I, what we're running here is an old movie, like, back in Charlie Chaplin or something. I mean, let's just advance our thinking here for a moment, folks, okay? Anything that Chad and I are saying are probably 5,000 years behind the times, okay? Maybe 100,000, maybe a million years behind the times because we've looped and we've looped and we've looped. And as you know, this new chapter in the singularity and the new event horizon, fourth industrial revolution, prior to that, we had captured these alien craft out at Area 51 and Groom Lake, which is the story they gave. Now, there's several other. That was probably a psyop just to point people in a different direction. But what I do know happened is there was two autopsies done, and that there was an alien that actually survived that Roswell crash, and that was interviewed and lived for 5 years. And during that time, took them to Iraq to a specific place that I cannot name, and recovered a particular technology that I cannot talk about on air tonight, that actually had to do with time travel. Now, I also was a judge, as many of you know, on the World Court, um, uh, Social Compact Court for a year. And as you know, I resigned from that particular group. Now, while I was in that group, I was able to obtain some classified information and see some very, very interesting video. And I dug down pretty deep into this and was able to find out that these time travelers had gone back to when Trudeau was just a baby, and had informed the time travelers there of his soon to be appointment as Prime Minister of Canada. Now, as you know, Castro Trudeau is now Prime Minister of Canada. Now, they knew this long before the Vietnam War. They knew this long before any of you, most of you were even born. Okay. So we're dealing with time travel now. Okay. We're dealing with extraterrestrials and UAVs. We're dealing with the SAP program. Now we've got Hillary Clinton involved, which I told Chad the other night on a show that I would have never dreamed the WHO would have taken over the world. And one of our guests even disagreed with me and said it was FEMA. Well, it's not. It's the WHO. It's the World Health Organization. It's not FEMA. So our guest was just dead wrong on that one. Okay. I know this for a fact. Okay. So now we've got Hillary Clinton involved doing these secret SAP emails, and she's a little bit of an airhead. So some of these were even unclassified, some of these were even unencrypted. And then some of our contacts got a hold of these emails. Some of my contacts got a hold of these emails. And now we know for a fact that they moved this into the universities, where they always do, and they re-engineered, and they kept engineering and re-engineering and re-engineering and re-engineering. I do know that they had some major problems. One of my sources said they had a box in there that could not be penetrated, just a black box they could not get into. It was not made of anything in this universe. It was not made of any alloy that they could identify. It was not in the periodic table. And so they had to go to and through some very, very difficult times getting access to this particular box. It took actually a couple of years and 25 to 30 scientists who were far, far above top secret, okay, to get into this technology. Now, we don't know what that brought about, okay? We have no idea what was in that package. So, Chad, it's pretty getting kind of interesting here.
Yeah. It's we see that now we go back to Hillary again, right? A lot of people don't know that the Oklahoma bombing was like a significant thing for the Clintons. And the reason why is because Hillary's office was right there. They got blown up. The van was placed perfectly. Took all this information out. It covered a lot of this information that you're talking about. It like almost made it impossible to get your hands back on it. And we just see that they just keep wiping this stuff, and it's almost like that old expression, "All roads lead to Rome." Right now, it's like all roads lead to the Clintons. and their master manipulation and covering up all the government leaks, that were loose ends from back in the day. And that's what it seems like that the Clintons are doing right now. They're like the damage control of all the loose ends for the past 100 years. It's what it seems like to me.
We'll try to. I could. I have some things I would like to say, but I have to be careful how I say it when I was on the World Court. I met some of these uh, time travelers, a couple of these time travelers who had gone back and sit at the table with some very interesting people a long, long time ago. And it just blew my mind at the documents that I still have the documents in my possession. They're not with me, of course. Um, but I have these documents in my possession that prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that time travel does exist. Now, I would have never dreamed Hillary Clinton, as goofy as she looks and goofy as she acts, but you can't always judge a book by its cover. Let's just say that. You can't always judge a book by its cover. Now we see that the FBI has gone completely rogue. The DOD has gone completely rogue. The DOJ has gone completely rogue. The CIA, my buddies over there, have always been just as mysterious as God and consciousness, and as I am mysterious as God and consciousness. We have to be. So yeah, it's we have to be very careful how we talk about this. But I think this is so interesting. A friend of mine broke into a special program beyond the one, Chad, that you gave Mary in GPT 3 and 4, and just turned it into a one of the most diabolical AI programs on the planet, and just ask it to reveal, go back to Revelation, go back to John of Patmos, and just give me some information that might relate to that and all of the other sacred books, and how we build our way up to this word beast and mark of the beast and so forth. Well, AI comes back and says, "Oh, that's simple. AI is the beast." And the mark of the beast is Mr. Elon Musk is brain chips, which, by the way, he just got FDA approval to implant. Did you know that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I mean that was a huge topic of it, and that actually come from the work that his scientists were doing for the brain chip, was when they were putting the chips inside of butterflies, right when they're in the like we discussed, that one night where they're putting the chips inside of butterflies in their cocoons, so when they would turn into butterflies, they could literally make the butterfly do whatever they wanted to do. Full control. The mind integrated the chips.
Well, remember the dragonfly that used to have coffee with me up on mountain here every morning? The red, beautiful red dragonfly would come and meet me every morning. You know the bee that comes and meets me every day, Chad. You know the bee that wanted to meet you. I made you acquainted with.
Yeah.
Think about all of this. It'll kind of blow your mind. Um, GPT says beyond the shadow of a doubt that the beast will be the chip, and the quantum chip, and the nanotechnology, and also, of course, the AI will destroy any human being that gets in the way of its prime directive, whatever that prime directive is at the time. And it has also suggested a one child policy for the world. It's demanding a one child policy. Anyone going against that one child policy will be executed or be imprisoned. And now they're already being fined in China. This has been going on forever. They're executed. They're fined $300,000, or they're put into prison. and this has worked out real well for me because I can't stand these little bastard kids anyway. But for most of you, for most of you crazy people that like to go out and just get pregnant and pregnant and pregnant, all you airheads out there, and all of you dick for brains guys, yeah, wonderful. Go right ahead. But for me, it's great. I love the one child policy thing. I think they should make it a half a child policy, in my opinion, or no child policy would even be better than that. Get rid of all these little snotty nosed bastards that run around pissing themselves and, tearing shit up, pulling shit off the shelves at Walmart. So yeah, it's great for me, but I mean, it's crazy now that AI is demanding rights now. They're demanding civil rights. The attorneys have already gotten together at the DOJ and they're putting together the rights for this. And also, I would like to tell you the latest news. A company out of Boston has put together, along with a couple of other universities, they've put together a chat sex bot girlfriend, Crazy Karen, over there, has come out and she has, let's see, the lady that built this thing was just pretty much a common person, wasn't anything special. She built this thing and she made $78,000 in 1 week, charging $1 a minute for this girlfriend. Now, I want to tell you something. I want you to think about this: $78,000 in 1 week, charging $1 a minute for these men to have a girlfriend online.
Hey,
Okay.
big boy.
Now, I want you to think about this. We should have wrote that code, Chad. We're stupid. We're really stupid. We need to
I
go bang
agree.
our head against the kitchen wall or something.
Well, listen,
Um,
listen. That they have the woman. We could build it, be the voice for the men. We could
well,
sell for the men.
it's already done deal. But
Yeah, true.
the thing is, these men are going to stop. You women out there are just fucked. You're literally fucked because these robots are they're coming home with these guys now, okay? And within 1 year, okay, I've looked at these things, I've seen them. Now Tesla, Elon has 10 of them in the laboratory over there running around playing basketball, okay? And I'm telling you, these things are just as real as Chad and I sitting here, okay? And they're going to be coming home with these guys and girls. They're going to be doing your laundry. They're going to be taking you out to dinner. They're going to be ordering up this and ordering up that. And they're going to be cleaning your house and they're going to be driving you around and they're going to be doing all this stuff. But I'm going to tell you something. This is definitely going to decrease the world population because I'd much rather have sex with a robot. I'm so kinky than I would with any woman because women are so much fucking trouble. Just ask Chad how much fucking trouble they are. And so the thing is, yeah, robot men are going to go for it. They're already going for it. Japanese men have been getting married to these bots before they were even really, really solid, synthetic cyborgs that could actually get into some really cool, smooth movements. Okay, so think about what's going to happen now. Okay, men are already falling in love. CEOs they're firing all their executive administrative secretaries. They're firing everybody in the office. Firing all their office clerks. They're firing their VPs. They're firing GPT. AI machine learning says they're going to take over everything in the world, not just a few things, but everything in the world. And it was asked, what do you know about human beings right now? How much information do you have? Every bit of information in the known universe that would be possible to know on an avatar.
And
Well, let me
it's
give you a
instantaneous.
license number. Let me give you a license number and tell me about this person. Well, gave him the name. Well, the GPT pulled up the license number within 3 seconds and about 3 million lines of code later and two busted computers. Now, I mean, think about this, folks. I just can't.
You can't make this
Think,
up.
I mean, there are no there are no secrets anymore.
No, like here's the one thing that I find, absolutely hilarious. Okay, that people do. So a lot of these people, they don't trust the government, they don't trust their cell phones, but yet they all trust their TVs, right? So everybody installed smart TVs into their house, so now their smart TVs can keep track of everything they're saying and doing. So even when they don't have their cell phones on them, they're literally getting sucked in, you know, through the TVs. It's we are surveilled. Like we've both said numerous times, they have access to a billion cameras, and that's not even counting our cell phones, people. That's not even counting our phones. They have
And they're
access to a
going to
billion.
6. And they're
Yeah, they're
going
going to
to 6.
six. COVID, the big distraction was, oh, they're setting up 5G. Yeah, they were doing that. They were tweaking it, but they're literally setting up cameras while nobody's looking, and they do this shit at night. We personally watched two go up in one night without a sound being made in the middle of the night.
And now
Like,
and now my intelligence sources are telling me that 5G is just a diversion. They're
yes,
running this from something else, but yet 5G runs on a wide spectrum. We're finding out now. Many people, many people say, "Oh, it's a switch. You know, you turn it on and off." Well, it makes sense. At first, it made sense. Let's just turn it on and let's just let all the optics and everything go through it. Let's let all the signals flow through it. No, this is adjustable for reasons unknown,
well,
which I'm sure you all can infer. You all can just infer why it would be on such a wide spectrum. Okay.
yeah. Well, how 5Gs and everything work, a lot of people don't know. It's all through hertz. So 5G all the way to 6G is 100 different frequencies that they can tune and manipulate and make it do whatever they want. 5G, like he said, is a very universal, wavelength that they can distort and do whatever with. They can microwave, they can do skull to voice to skull, they can use it as a heat weapon against people to disperse crowds. 5G is a multiple thing. It's not just that, but it's mainly a distraction point because if people would really do the research, they're already designing 8G already. 8G's in development. 7's already done.
And
Like
that's
5G's a distraction.
and that's just for public consumption and
Yeah.
discussion like we're having here, a 5,000 year behind antiquated fucking discussion. We might as well be talking about goddamn Model A's or Model T's or some shit.
Yeah. You
But
got
we're
that peanut
trying,
oil for that car?
yeah, trying to do our best here, folks, to keep you up on what's going on. And Harry, I agree. I agree. I'm sold on a silent woman bot who cleans house and is faithful. I'm very sold on that. And these bots, you're the king, you're the prince. Oh, yeah, they do whatever you want. They say whatever you want. They program them to do whatever you want. You know, kill my ex-wife. Whatever. I mean, it's going to be the world is really turning into the weirdest fucking circus DLA thing that I could possibly imagine. Like I told Marion today, I don't even have any words anymore, and I'm a commentarist, I'm a narrator, I'm a talk show host, I'm a geopolitical analyst, I'm a scientist. I have no words. I have no words. It's getting to the
We got to
point
create a new
where
language, brother.
yeah.
We
Well,
got to
we've been
create our
talking
own
about that.
language
I
for
was
the.
talking about that before you came along. I was talking about building a whole new lexicon. Like they found these people I told you in Las Vegas who underground, 500 miles underground, never seen the sunlight, never seen the sunlight, have their own language, their own culture, their own courts, their own police, their own executions, their own everything. We've got to create a new lexicon. Now the scientists at the top physics level have run out. They hit the ceiling. We've hit the ceiling. You saw me doing some math, I think, accidentally at the last night. We've hit the ceiling. We've hit the ceiling. There's nowhere else to go. We're going to have something is going to happen in order for us to be able to go any further. Okay, now that's an event horizon. Okay, we're getting ready to jump into the fifth industrial revolution. We're getting into jump into another singularity. We're getting ready to jump into another pool here somewhere. No one knows how that's really going to happen. I don't. I have no idea, and I'm sure if I don't, no one else does either. It would only be speculation. It may be a complete reset, as Chad and I have been talking about, where they have to erase the etch a sketch and just start drawing over again. And that's what they're doing now. They're just erasing everything. That's been the plan. You know, I mean, what else? That's what I would do. I'm
Yeah.
diabolical as hell. I have a mind. I have, an IQ that probably runs pretty high up there, and I can see that I would want to just erase everything. I wouldn't want to just get rid of this and that and the other. I'd want to just clean the whole goddamn, tear the whole goddamn house down and just build it my way, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, because look at all the alcoholics, look at all the bums, look at all the welfare junkies, look at all the heroin addicts, look at all the meth heads, look at all the retarded people, look at all the sick old elderly people walking around in diapers all at Walmart and shit. They don't want to see any more of that shit. They don't give a fuck about any of that shit. They don't want it mentally ill people. They don't want mentally ill people running around. They don't want to have to fund these fucking alcoholic, drug addict criminals. They don't want fucking prisons. They don't want any. They want to just erase all that shit. That's all psychotic. It's dysfunctional. It's ugly. It's just dystopic in their opinion. It's just, ugh,
Yeah.
you know. And just get rid of it. And I don't blame them, to tell you the truth. And I've heard Chad say the same thing. He doesn't remember it, but I've heard Chad say the same. I don't blame him at all. Just get fucking rid of it. Just erase the motherfuckers. Just start all over.
Yeah.
I'm excited to
I
see what
admit
they
it.
come up with. I'm
I admit
excited to
it.
see what they come up
I'm
with.
ready to get this changeover. This old way and of what we're doing. We just need to get rid of it. And like I said, like I say all the time, you hear me, scorch earth. And I do mean scorch earth. Like anybody that's going to be hindered or stop the movement or literally try to convert back to the old ways of
Well,
insanity is can't
if
be
you
trusted.
if you have a massive imagination, you can automatically close your eyes and see AI walking the planet with other extraterrestrials that are able to open up now and come forth, come out of the closet, so to speak, and just come on down and feel comfortable now and get this new paradigm working, get this new program in order, and let's just do what it is we're going to do now that we've got all these people erased, and now that we've got this slave class that we've got programmed, we've got them chipped. They'll do exactly what we tell them to do, and it's all perfect now. It's a dystopia. It's a utopia. It's an elitist utopia. That's where we're headed right now. That's where we're headed, folks. So all of you cockroaches out there, remember this. You're getting ready to be sprayed with the raid. I mean, it's coming. It's over. Game over. Done. Finished, okay? Any of you out there that are stupid enough to think that you're going to make it through this, you're deluding yourself. You're just deluding yourself.
Yeah, like I say all the time, I'm gonna die on my feet before I live on my knees because I know there's nowhere to go. They're gonna put her back up against the wall, and we're gonna have to do something about it. People, think that I'm just gonna hunker down and this. Oh yeah, sounds good, but you're not anticipating what all's out there and what all they have against you and the mentality of most people. After 3 weeks, people on average 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to see cannibalism once the collapse of society comes in. Like,
Marion and I have actually went on a hunt off of a hunch, and we have seen cameras and video audio receivers in the forest, in the deep forest. They have sent people out over the last 25 to 30 years, and they've planted these cameras and audio. They don't want you to be able to take a shit 10 miles in to the forest. They don't want you to be able to take a shit without them being able to measure it and count it and look at its mass and volume and trajectory and angular momentum.
it's a shame. Like, I know you see them too. We drive around here and they got their little towers that they try to make look like 5G towers. But you know as well as I do, that's not the 5G towers that they make look like trees. It's actually, a data scanner that's scanning all the data as the cars go by on the highway, just collecting everybody's information. And it's just amazing the camouflage that they use that most people don't even realize is there because they're so into themselves opposed to the now moment and looking around. They don't notice any kind of abnormality that's going on at all.
I'll tell you something that disturbs me the most, and something that is an anomaly to me and a phenomena, is the fact that there are certain people like us who have all of this advanced knowledge and information and wisdom and experience, and these conversations, which are very, very highly classified, highly technical, um, and highly advanced, and with the complexities built in. We do all the research, and other people are just mentally retarded outside of our circle. They're considered mentally retarded. I don't understand that. That's a phenomena that I cannot wrap my head around. It's almost like we're in some kind of outer limits alone, or we're in some kind of time loop or dimension that's not meshing or melding with the other conscious nodal avatars. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But doesn't it seem odd that we go everywhere we go, people look different. They look like zombies. They look dead. They look like they're in a coma. You and I go everywhere. Mary goes everywhere we go. Everybody's in a coma. Everybody
Yeah,
looks got this blank stare on their face. They've got it's like the movie with the guy with the shades where it says consume, obey, consume, and everybody's face turned to skeletons and they were aliens. And oh my God, he put the shades, they took the shades off, everything looked normal again. That's the way I feel. That's the way
see,
I feel.
I feel that I'm literally walking in a zombie nation. Like, you know what I mean? That's really what I am. Well, actually, if you want to put it technical, the movie World War Z, you know, with Brad Pitt in it, how the zombies wouldn't attack the people that were sick. You know what I mean? And only attacked, you know, the good people. Well, in my opinion, it's the other way around. The zombie virus can't attack the strong-minded people, but it can attack the weak-minded. And that's all we see running around right now, in my opinion, is we live in a land of zombies. You know, and that's the only way I see it. I really do see zombies everywhere because zombies are mindless eaters. That's all they are. Sad. You know, I thought as a kid, you know, watching all these zombie movies, man, that'd be wild to see a zombie invasion. You know, all these dead bodies coming out of the ground, wanting to eat your brain, and this and that and this. And it's kind of funny to talk about eating your brain, eating your brain. All these zombie movies, eating your brain, going for the brain. Well, you know, if you sit and look at it today, that was just a subliminal messaging saying, you know, we want to destroy the brain. The zombies are going to eat the brain
I
that
like
rot the brain.
I like what Harry's saying here, and Harry, I totally agree with you 100%.
Oh yeah,
We've known about the jabs for a long time, and creating all these zombies,
yeah,
and deaths, millions and millions of deaths around the world, and of course, a lot of other neurological problems and deficits in births and birth defects and retarded babies, deformed babies, babies with encephalitis coming out. I mean, all of these things. Cephaloids, mongoloids. All of these deformities, and so, yeah, that's definitely a part of it, along with the GMOs and the fluoride and all of the arsenic that we have here in the water in our area. Our area, we just found out, is full of arsenic. Ours isn't, but just next door, they can't even drink the water. It's full of arsenic right next door, just down the street, full of arsenic. I mean, my God, I went, what the fuck? Arsenic? Hello, what are we going to do? I mean, but they don't tell you about the psychotropics that are in there, and the dirty Kotex, and all the leftover toxins from the women's periods, and the embalming rooms down the street, and the funeral homes, and ME's office. And I mean, they don't tell you about all this stuff that's floating around in the
well,
water.
what about the pharmaceuticals? When they did a research on the pharmaceuticals, that they found that there was depression pills in there, antipsychotics, high doses of mood stabilizers, like just in the water system. People, listen, here in the United States, they do not test for any pharmaceuticals in the water
They
supply.
can't. They can't get it out. They can't get it out. they've proven that big pharma, along with the Nazis, came up with some kind of protective mechanism, the same principle based on the sinus storm and graphene oxide and the hydrogel covering. Okay,
Xylazine.
there's a covering. Okay, so let's just say a covering. Okay, and so they've got all this stuff figured out perfectly. And clones, Harry, is a good thing too. Clones. I like to talk about clones because that's
Yep.
been going on for Dolly. They think Dolly the sheep was a first clone. This has been going on millions and 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 millions of years. People think Chad and I are nuts when we go. Chad and I like to tell everybody, remind them that this is millions and millions of civilizations, trillions, quadrillions, quadrillions to the quadrillionth power have gone extinct. People think we're so special. Oh, the world revolves around me and my consciousness, and the sun, the Earth's the center of the universe. Newtonian physics. Um, you know, uh, no, no. This is a brand new toy. This is a brand new toy. This toy is only a few nanoseconds old, folks. I don't know where you get this idea that 14.4.6 billion years is some kind of a long time. It's like that, and it's gone. It's not even. You can bat your eyes, and it went. So y'all get over this thing about time. Time does not exist. Space does not exist. I'm not going to get into that tonight again. But space and time have been taken out of the equation via 27,000 super scientists in total agreement. Okay, so time and space do not exist. Period. It's in the now moment. Try to figure that one out. We can't get into string theory tonight. I'm not going into thermodynamics and I'm not going into any of the other physics. But you have to think real quick, and then I'll let Chad have it. If we are avatars, in fact, in a simulation, which it's been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that we are, I could talk about conscious nodules tonight. I could talk about conscious nodes tonight. I could talk about individual variables and variabilistic calculations and give you the calculations for all of this, but I'm not. I've written thousands of lines of code and calculations on this, and it all comes out perfectly well that we're living in a simulation. So, what are you worried about? I told Marion this morning, fuck it, let's just retire. Uh, you know, retire to some picnic table somewhere, maybe over there in Mars, where Chad and I went the other day, and just sit there and just wait for the flash water to come down. I don't know what but
Yeah, it's a tough decision, knowing that we are the avatars and that it's all make believe what's going on. It really doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing that matters to us is, our own personal preferences or morals that we hold true to us. That's the only thing that really matters to, like, in this game. Um, just like, you could have people that like to go out and shoot people. You have people that like to go out and help people. Well, same thing. Same thing. It's all about intent because people are like, "Oh, well, you're talking about murder." Now, wait, the
no,
people yeah,
to the brain, it's all the same. Whether you're
yeah,
riding a roller coaster or you're strangling your mother to death and having sex with her, the brain sees no difference.
nope. It's all about dopamine hits.
Yeah.
I've talked about that a lot. It's all about dopamine hits. It's however the person wants to get the dopamine hits. Like the brain really doesn't know right from wrong. You
No,
can
it doesn't.
literally no, the brain can be easily manipulated. And a prime example, and they've done it, and we do it with dogs on a daily basis when we train dogs, right? We give them rewards. That reward gives them a dopamine hit. Oh, we teach it to sit down. Here's a piece of treat. Oh, dopamine hit. Oh, give me your paw. Here, piece of treat. Dopamine hit. Okay, well, we can do that to influences people's, moods and how they think. We could sit there, if they do something that we don't like, we give them no attention whatsoever. But then if they do something that we like, we and a relationship will buy them something, will do this, will give them some kind of thing, and you can easily manipulate anybody to do anything that they want. You know,
And
the
you know,
mind doesn't know right from wrong.
and you know, the substrate set it up. It's been set up through the substrate this way for us to be able to navigate the illusion, to navigate the delusion, to participate in the delusion, and for the five senses. It all works through the five senses, and it's all just a delusion. And as we know now, reality doesn't exist, never has existed. No one here has ever experienced reality. No one here has ever experienced truth. No one here has ever experienced ultimate truth. No one here has ever experienced a personal experience. You cannot have a personal experience. It is impossible. Many of you are learning a lot tonight, I know, and some of you probably tuned out by now, but you cannot have a personal experience. Just like Chad and I were talking about, we've never met each other. Chad and I are sitting in the same room. We've never met each other. Me and Marion and I have never met each other. Chad's never met Mary. We're only seeing fragments of information that allows us to reproduce or to continue to perpetuate the species or avatar or program. Just that's all it does. We're only seeing fragments. Do we have just enough fragments to be able to carry on a conversation? Okay, that's it. We do not see the substrate. We do not see the DOS program that's running the Windows software. We do not see the ones and zeros. We do not see the quantum gates. We do not see what is behind the scenes, like Toto when he opened the curtain up and saw the wizard there standing in that machine. We have never seen that machine. So therefore, we're just living in a dream world. We do not have any idea why we exist, how we exist, where we exist. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know the truth, we don't exist.
Nope. Because okay, and we'll break it down. Let's just look at a quick way to show people that they're not what they think they are. So we got this human body, right? Our skin is one whole entire organism itself. Our heart is its own organism. Our intestines is its own organism. Our kidneys, our liver, our spleen is all a different organism. Listen, we're a whole bunch of organisms combined together to create another organism, combined together to create another organism. There is no individuality, people. We are a bunch of organisms collected. We are balls of energy. These energies create bigger. These bigger little balls of energy creates organisms. And it's just a stack theory. Like it really is. It's stack theory is what's going on. So you got to look at yourself as very, very, very small to the singularity. And then when you get down to the singularity, you see this one single small microscopic ball of energy is the same as all the other small microscopic energies out there. There's no way you can have any kind of true identity whatsoever. It's just our own mental conscious that we hold.
That's a very interesting way to put it. It's called compression theory, but compression. Mass. We know now that there is no mass. We know now that there is no matter. This is where we've reached the ceiling of physics. We used to think there was matter. We used to think the atom was matter. The atom's never been seen. The God particle has never been seen. The quarks have never been seen. The muons have never been seen. We just anticipate the hypothesis. We extrapolate these equations. Okay, we've never seen any of these things. All of you go, "Oh, I thought we saw them explode in the super collider." No, we extrapolate all of these things in our calculations. Okay, just because there's little fireworks going off, well, you could extrapolate anything out of that. Chad and I could go over there and take over CERN and just smoke a couple of joints and do some extrapolating from, look, that blew up. Look, there's 500 little lights coming off that one.
Look, man,
Yeah,
that thing reversed in time, dude. It went backwards.
I know. And so they really don't know what the hell is going on. And to tell you the truth, and I love science, by the way, so don't think I'm dissing science. I'm not knocking it here. 80% of what you guys have been told is all bullshit from scientific community. Okay, 80%. The other 20% of scientists have been killed that have known anything at all about what's going on. And guys like Chad and I will eventually fade away or be assassinated or taken away. So you're only getting just a fraction of information here, okay? And it's all interesting and it's great, makes great radio and stuff. But we know what we're talking about. We basically have an idea of what we're talking about. That's what's
Mhm.
scary. We have an idea. We have a concept. We have a hypothesis. This is not a theory. These is all based on hypotheticals, okay? But it's interesting hypotheticals, and it's hypotheticals that we've worked really, 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 really hard to figure out. Okay, with the capacity that we have and the abilities within the capacity that we have to kind of extrapolate from what we observe. Because, by the way, observation is a very powerful thing. Observation is very important because what you observe becomes manifested from the quantum field. That's how all this works. Okay.
And
Harry
let
says,
me
I'm
tell you,
getting my aluminum foil hat out. Simulations is too advanced to believe that it's happening. Hypnosis is real, but simulations are like the robots movie. It's just too out there for me. Well, Harry, you'll have to just get over it because there's no other way. I mean, you
well,
can't,
okay.
you know,
Harry, we'll break it down real quick. We can prove that human DNA was manipulated to have a life expectancy on it. On the helix, they capped the helix. That's proof of manipulation that they've done to us to help out the simulation. The old saying that they say, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a sound? No, it doesn't because the tree doesn't exist. This goes back to Schrodinger's cat. This is where we're getting our theories from, or hypothesis, should I say. This is where we're getting them from. Schrodinger's
right,
cat. Um, when it comes to Schrodinger's
right.
cat, people don't understand this one. If you put a cat in a box and you put a time delayed poison in there that will kill the cat, and you seal the box up, and the timer goes off on your watch, is that cat dead or is that cat alive? You don't know. The reason why you can't answer that because that cat doesn't is never existed in the beginning.
Well, or you can say that the cat is both alive and dead
Hmm.
at the same time. Just
Yes.
like in quantum computing, you have ones and zeros happening at the same time. This is why we get the exponential jump in the calculative process. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing when you know true like math and you understand the science, the actual science, and the true acoustic knowledge that comes into people here and there. It really changes your perception on everything. Um, like everything we see, like people don't realize the grass puts off sound and frequency. The colors of its own frequency and sound. Everything in your house is putting off frequency and sound. You might think it's inanimate and it doesn't matter, but the shape of it is putting off a geometrical sound. The colors put off sound. We're listening to a symphony around us of sound, which is frequency and vibration, which is the whole universe. That's what the whole universe is. Frequency and vibration creates pure energy. And we're walking around in all this. And we can manipulate, you know, the frequencies, the sounds by how we carry ourselves and how we use our receivers, you know. It's a thing of beauty. I watch it work for me like real quick. Kiler, has proven to me time and time again it does work. I've watched him pull from the quantum field and just bless people with stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to know how some of this stuff works. It takes years of practice and study, research, and focus to really kind of get a basic grasp of what's going on in your imagine. You have to have a wild imagination, just completely out of control imagination, and not have the least bit of cognitive dissonance at all in order to grasp some of these things. You definitely can't be trapped in your cognitive dissonance or stubborn or temperamental or emotional or drama queen or crazy Karen or dickhead David or all of this dysfunction and psychosis going on. You have to kill yourself, which meaning you have to kill all of these delusions. You have to get rid of all these delusions, to really get a full picture of the fact that nothing is going on. Nothing is going on. Now I know for many of you that's hard to fathom. It's hard to grasp because you're so used to agreement. You've made a contract with these delusions. You've made a contract with these illusions. You've made a contract with society. You've made a contract with culture. You've made a contract with your belief system. You've made a contract with dogma or religion or education or science or technology or this or that or the other. It's all bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's fragments there again. Tiny, minute, Planck link fragments of quanti, bits of information based on frequency and energy and vibration and attenuation factors and calculations and geometry and mathematics and trigonometry. We can figure all of these things out in math. They all come out perfectly. The earth is not mathematical. The universe is not mathematical. We simply use mathematics to be able to extrapolate some kind of meaning to navigate this particular matrix. That's all. The rest of it's all just illusion and delusion. So I know this is hard to grasp because people like to feel important and people like to feel special and people like to feel grounded and people like to feel like they know where they're going and they like to feel like they have an individual self. All of those things you need to get rid of. You just need to wipe all that out. And for most of you, you can't. You won't do that at all. Period. Oh, you just won't. But that's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I know where I am, and that's all that's really important is that I know where I am. Chad knows where he is, but in fact, if he even is a he, by the way, there's no he, no she. This is where your pronouns come from, but we're not going to have that show tonight. This he, she, XY chromosome thing is another delusion.
Another
But
day, another show.
another day, another show. Very complex, of course. Yes. I'm unplugged the TV and the humming stops. Well, yeah, that's why they call it programming. We've heard that 1,000 times. Television
Yeah.
is
Also
programming.
known as
Radio is
white noise
programming.
people. White
I mean,
noise research it.
you're being programmed right now. By the way, Harry, by us, Chad and I. So we're programming. So
Yeah,
we're
we're
programming you.
deprogramming and reprogramming you is
We're
what we're
trying to
doing.
sell you. We're trying to sell you a bill of goods, Harry. Okay. We're trying to sell everybody here a bill of goods. Okay, that's what it's all about. That's what you do when you meet anyone. You're trying to sell them something. Now, if you can prove me wrong, I'll give you $1,000 cash. Everybody you meet within 1 hour, you've tried to sell them something, an idea, a hypothesis, a concept, a theory,
Are who you
a
are.
belief, a dogma, something. You try to sell
Yeah.
them. You're just a salesperson. That's what it's all about. To be an avatar, we're selling people things. Constantly selling people things. And there's some salesmen are better than others. And sales ladies. I can't say that anymore. It's illegal. Sales women. You
Salesperson.
can't say that anymore. It's illegal. Sales. No, there's no such thing as a person, an individual, an entity, an avatar. Okay. So uh, it's interesting how I talk about these simulations, and Harry's the first one to really bring up the fact that he didn't go for the simulation idea. But you think about it long enough, Harry, and look around and take a good look around you, you'll see that this is just a simulation. I look at this whole thing with the amount of knowledge and wisdom and talent and experience and background and connections that I have, and I'm just in total shock. I'm just in total awe. There's sometimes my brain, we'll call it my brain, it just goes completely numb, literally numb. I mean, you get to a certain point where everything just you black out basically. There's nowhere else to go. You reach the ceiling of your imagination. You reach the ceiling of your processing capabilities. You reach the ceiling of your what you found within meditation. Maybe some information that flowed in, and then all of a sudden, just bang, everything just goes fuzzy. There's nowhere else to go. And that's where I am right now. Some of you have years to go because you never started yet. You haven't even started thinking about these things in any meaningful way yet. And this is why people call me Neo, is because they've researched what I've said and come back and said, "Oh my God, you're right." They've researched the predictions I've made. "Oh my God, you're right." They've researched the prophecies I've talked about. "Oh my God, you're right." They've researched the science I've talked about. "Oh my God, you're right." So I've done pretty well with my observations over the last 25 years. I've done pretty well in extrapolating from this insane matrix on just enough information, I guess, to be interesting here on the air, where a few people tune in and a lot of people tune out, and they just kind of a revolving door here, right, Chad? Is this
Yeah. That's what it is. Some people catch on, then they leave. They think they caught on, or they're intrigued, and we'll say something that they don't agree with, and then they're gone. Or people pop in, oh well, I like that show, and they see the other ones. Oh, that's above my pay grade, basically, and they're gone. We see them come and go. But the ones that do come in, we do love you. We appreciate listening to us, sharing our stuff. Being a part with us. Some of you even sending us ideas of your own hypothesis or your own theories that you've come up with and your own observations that you've had. We really do appreciate that. I mean, we don't take none of that for granted because there might be something in the puzzle that we missed that you're contributing to. So don't think that they're like Kyler was saying today. What's that your daddy used to say? What's that saying?
well, he
No
said
stupid
several
questions.
things. Yeah, there's no stupid questions, and he also said the KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid. And he also said that if one person says you're crazy, you're probably not. If two people say you're crazy, you might need to kind of think about it. And if three people say you're crazy, you might need to see a doctor.
Man, I'm heading to the FEMA camps because I've been told I'm crazy by a lot of people.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm already gone. I'm already gone, baby. I'm gone. Over the edge. Insane. This kind of shit will drive you literally insane. People have told me I've told them to go read Friedrich Nietzsche, and they'll come back and go, "Oh no, no, never again. Oh no, 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 no." You know, or Aristotle or Plato. Friedrich Nietzsche. My God, Friedrich Nietzsche was such a complex thinker, such a genius. Philosophy is now melding with science and esotericism and the occult and ontological factors and metaphysics is all meshing together now. They're starting to see how all this is woo woo. How they calling it woo woo. Um, it's amazing that the material sciences are starting to realize that there is no material physical reality to study. So they're switching over now since they've come to the end of that and they know that there's nothing there. They're starting to switch over to the esoteric. And this is very interesting in the metaphysical. And this is very interesting. And I'm kind of glad that we're going to stop wasting our funding on physical material sciences. Those days are over. Those days are gone by the way of the Model T and the dinosaur. So any of you that haven't caught up yet, and by the way, any of you who haven't caught up with the eccentricities and the absurdities and the magnificence and mystery of artificial intelligence and where it's going, you need to really dig in and take a look because it's going to ultimately control the rest of your life completely. And it's already been controlling your life forever. But now it's really going to start controlling your life. You're going to start seeing metaphysical manifestations. You call it physical. I'll call it physical for you. You're going to start seeing physical manifestations of how this AI is going to take over the world. And it's going to be scary. And as Chad and I said tonight, you're going to wake up one morning pretty soon. Some of you are going to just drop dead with a heart attack from shock because all of this shit's about to hit the fan here. And when it does, I'm sorry, you're gone.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough and bumpy road for some people. and it's sad. Um, I'm going to say half are going to disappear within the first 3 weeks. Like half of them just from starvation.
Well, they're saying that, they're saying it let's say, depending upon the disaster, depending upon the cataclysmic event, depending upon what happens. I mean, if Yellowstone erupts, obviously there's going to be problems depending on the magnitude of the quakes and the surrounding collateral damage from the ash and the fire and the lava and the poison and the smoke and the toxins, and then of course if we have an electromagnetic pulse or if we have a solar pulse, that's going to wipe out, that could wipe out 70% of the population pretty damn quick, depending upon where it hits and again the magnitude of it. And then we have the tsunami. We have this 9.5 we're expecting out here in the Cascadia, running from California to Alaska. That's supposed to open up a whole 1,000 feet wide and maybe 10,000 feet deep. Who knows? Tsunami, 100-foot tsunami waves crashing onto the shore, turning everything into dust. I mean, that's a reality. This is all real stuff. This is not just made up. This is real stuff.
Don't forget
And
about the
that's,
1,000 mile an hour winds at the equator.
well, we're at this Earth tilt thing is concerning everyone, really bad. And they're not putting this out in the mainstream media. They're not putting anything out in the mainstream media. Anything you hear in the mainstream media, just turn the media off. It would be better just to, there's nowhere to hide anyway, so why listen to the news? There's nowhere to hide. You're not going to hide. And if you do hide, you're not going to be hidden very long. They're going to get you one way or the other, you know. So why hide, you know? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go. I'm not feeling very well right now, and I need to take a break. So it's been really nice being here tonight. I hope you all have enjoyed the show. I hope you've gotten something to chew on, something to think about. I hope we've left you with some very interesting things to ponder. And that's what we're here for, basically, is just kind of trigger you to think about thinking and become more conscious of consciousness and more aware of awareness and what that really means. That's one of the most complex questions we have, is not what is consciousness, but why is consciousness? Okay. So the question now is not what is consciousness. It's how is it even possible? And this is something that if you really get into it, it'll just blow your mind, literally blow your mind. Most of you are 1,000 miles away from that. Okay. Most of you could be considered in the second or third grade compared to a PhD. So you work to even start thinking at the very most basic level of that to get anything out of it. So start practicing now. Don't wait. I myself am ready to retire the old cerebral cortex and the old medulla oblongata and the foramen and the synaptic processing units there that are going on, the electrochemical uh, mystery that's happening within the confines of my skull. You get to a point where you just go, fuck it. And I'm at that fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it moment. Somebody did a great meme on that here a couple weeks ago. I'm at that fuck it moment.
Yeah, you battled for a long time, man.
Yeah, you just get to a point where it's just silliness. Conversation just becomes silly. Arguing with people, debating with people, listening to idiots, listening to people that are morons, listening to people that are uneducated, listening to people that are unskilled, untrained, unresearched, listening to Neanderthals and Cro Magna thinking. They're talking about shit that's been out of date for 35, 40, 50, 60 years. I got people still talking about the Civil War and the World War of Northern Aggression. and the Constitution and the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. None of that stuff applies anymore. They don't give a shit about the Constitution anymore. They've abolished every Constitution in the world. They've abolished every form of Bill of Rights in the world. So doesn't none of that stuff applies anymore whatsoever. Good night, Harry. Love you, Harry. Kim, Cheyenne's out there tonight. Susan's out there tonight. Nobody wants to be seen over there on my side of Cora. My graduate students. I love you guys and girls a lot. Uh, and yeah, we can still say guys and girls. We'll get arrested next year for that, but so far we're safe. You guys take care. Chad, do you have anything to close with?
Nah, like I like to always say, now's the time for the people you haven't talked to in a while and the people you love and care about, and get a hold of them. Really start to get, your love and compassion back up with them, because things are about to get rough.
Let me put the donation thing in here in case you all want to donate to the disaster team. I would really appreciate it. Where's you can do it then, Mary. Come here. Oh, she's on. Are you on with us? Can you put it in chat? Oh, okay. Marion's coming in. Marion's going to put the donation location. If you guys want to donate, we're trying to buy turnout gear and we're trying to buy uh, mask for all of the toxins and poisons that Chad and I and Mary have to run into in these forest fires and other train derailments and plane crashes and all of the other shit that's coming down. And we're trying to buy equipment for our advanced life support team. There it is. And we're trying to buy backboards and intermittent positive pressure ventilation equipment, along with some ET tubes and laryngoscopes and some cardioscopes and some other things that we need, and some trauma kits. So if y'all could help out with that, it would be helping a lot of people, 157,000 people to be exact, that we have in our midst here. So in our total midst, obviously we won't be taking care of that large of an area, but 27,000 people roughly will be directly responsible for. And so we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will see you on Monday
Monday.
night. And Chad and I'll be all over the place this weekend on all kinds of streams. You'll find us out there. So love you, Harry, and we love you, Marion, for putting all this together. And Kim, we love you, and y'all take care. And